Hey everyone. So I wanted to do a quick little tour of the Outrider. I think I'm pretty much done with this. It's been a fairly long and involved project, but this is, as of right now, I think it's going to be a 1/12 scaled ship for Black Series figures, but you can scale it down to 1/18. I try to make the some of the details a little bit chunkier so it could maybe be printed at 1/18th. But the parts I'm going to be uploading are going to be 1/12. I also tried to divide this up so it shouldn't be, hopefully not be that hard to print. I haven't cut everything up yet. I'm going to be doing a lot of that cutting in the slicer, but as of right now, the exterior and interior is finished within ZBrush. Okay, so I kind of want to go over some of the details and some of the features because I'm actually kind of proud of this. Um, so anyway, so yeah, so the exterior of the ship, it's gonna be fairly big. I think if this is, it's gonna be bigger than the Ghost if you print it out in TVC scale, which is 1/18th. A lot of detail here. I made a bunch of these little greebling panels that stick in on the side, so you'll be able to kind of print those out separately and glue them in. So you see these little pieces right here. Um, the lid will be able to come off. We do have movable turrets right here, so this turret will be able to go up and down and rotate. And there is a lower turret. That's something I always kind of didn't like about the Falcon when I was a kid. It didn't have both turrets, and I'm like, it has both turrets in the movie. Why can't it have both turrets in the toy? And so here I want to make sure I had it. One thing that I was seriously considering putting in was the giant, massive gun on the other side of the ship that we had the the toy, Outrider toy back in the 90s, but didn't quite go there, but hopefully my nicely detailed airlock will suffice. Um, yeah, so I did a lot of, it is more heavily detailed on the top than it is on the bottom, but there is a decent amount of detail here. The cockpit, I'm going off of the Rebels TV show where we only had one person. Where is... I'm trying to find the seat. Okay, there it is. Let me move this down here. I want to make sure I turn on the cockpit seats. Okay, I got some extra seats sitting out here, but I'm really putting in one cockpit seat in the middle here, and then there'll be extra cockpit seats behind that front seat. And then in the back, there'll be a little bit of space back here. I've got some detailing back here. Engine detail, big grill back there. A lot of people ask me if I've run channels for lighting. I have not run channels for lighting. I wanted to get this out, and that's a whole other level of focus that I don't have right now. Maybe in the future I'll do it, but not right now. Okay, so let's talk about interior spaces. So I think importantly, you should be able to get into the cockpit. So I went ahead and pulled that up. Technically speaking, this whole canopy piece can be removed, but the idea is that to better fit this into here and not have it like fall off or anything, the nose piece can kind of like glue on separately after you print out the cockpit section, and then this can like peg in and out. I need probably to make like some little latches or something, but it'll sit there. If you have printed out my Falcon cockpit set, or if you have received one from me, you get an idea of kind of what the setup is. It's pretty much the same. We got individual controls in here, got a flight yoke, screens, all sorts of stuff in here. So this is a separate piece, so you can resin print this. And if you want to light it up, you're more than welcome to do that. Sorry, I'm getting over a cold. Okay, this piece right here. So I figure we're going to have a lot of space in this area, so I went ahead and made this wall removable. And so I'm kind of treating like all of this as like part of the cockpit, whereas, you know, in the real Falcon, it was much shallower. So I wanted to add a little bit extra space in here. There's nothing back here. At least I haven't really worked on anything being back there, but there's nothing back there. And then in my head, you know, you go back here, and then like there's some way that you end up following a corridor that goes into the main ship. But in reality, it's not really thick enough to walk through there. Maybe it's like a short walk. I don't know. These pieces clip in a little bit. You'll see a little studs there, little holes here. So there is some friction to hold them in, which will be good. Detailing in here similar to like the Falcon tunnel and the Falcon itself. This whole piece is separate. So that can come off, that prints separately, and then you'll glue that on. And then you have the neck, wing, whatever you want to call them, pieces. Those come off. There are studs or tabs you'll print off and then plug in to here. They'll plug in, and you'll basically plug this in and glue it all together. And like I said, this moves and rotates and elevates. Same thing for the bottom. These landing gear, I wasn't sure where the balance point is, so I just kind of went overboard with the landing gear. I would like for it to balance with just 4, but I think having this massive section out here is just going to be too heavy, so I went in and put 2 landing gear out here on this side. The loading ramp fully functions, or at least is intended to fully function. And then let's lift this up. Let's hide that, and we'll just go ahead and hide this. Okay. All right, so you'll take, let me take the greebles off as well. These are panels you can print in a resin printer, so it'll get a little bit better, a little bit more detail. Okay, so the idea is this. I tried to lay this out in the interior in a way that I felt made sense for the toy, but also the fact that, like, you know, the Legacy Big Millennium Falcon that we got kind of sort of had a false interior that kind of sort of made sense, but it you know, it kind of faked a lot of things. So I don't know, maybe just I really love like doll houses and kind of how functional they are. So I try to make a more or less functional interior for this thing. So like I said, the you know, as a child, I always wanted my figures to go up the Falcon ramp, but of course they never did because the Falcon's too short in the toy. This is not too short. This is perfect height for the figures to get into. You'll see there's no chin or anything under here in order to cut that out. And in fact, I initially was putting the ramp here, but I was kind of looking at it and I was like, you know, we've seen a lot of loading ramps on these Corellian freighters coming in from the side, but I don't think I've seen one coming in from the front, kind of shuttle style. So I wanted to have one coming in from the front, its own like little dedicated area. So we have this ramp section here, but then we also on the other side have a dedicated section for for the airlock. So for whatever reason, if you want to have it, you can have it. Okay. So if we go in, we have a main circular corridor. This corridor goes all the way around the interior of the ship, around a central spine, if you will. This spine essentially has two gunner chairs. Well, one gunner chair that holds two people, if you see that inside. And I don't think I've seen a Falcon do this yet. It's always been they only have one. It's going to suck for whoever's sitting on the bottom one, but essentially you can pull up this assembly and you can put someone in the top, someone in the bottom, and then if you want to use like a rubber band, old style, and put, kind of strap them in, it actually does rotate. And there's a peg down in the bottom that's circular, and then there's a circular kind of neck right here, collar, I guess, that actually kind of holds it all in place. So the whole thing can rotate. It doesn't rotate with the guns. I wanted it to, but this thing, the center of rotation for this and then the pivot point for the guns don't line up, unfortunately. But I wanted it to kind of look like it did, so that's kind of what I went for. I might put a little bit more detailing down here, just because that's kind of a blank area, but yeah, it kind of works. Okay, so you'll see the little grates in here. These are false floors that you can pull up, and these guys can, stash things, because of course Dash Rendar is a smuggler, yada yada. So there's 4 of these. 3 in the circular corridor, and then 1 over here in between the airlock and the main corridor. Okay. Room-wise, there's a kind of what I was thinking of as like a dedicated area for like living area. So there's a circular couch area, a galley station here. I need to finish the game table, but I wanted to make a new game table. I could have put the one I've had for years at this point, but I wanted to make a new one for this ship, so I'm working on that. Little storage area here, but yeah, so this is kind of like the meeting room, just kind of like the general area. And then I have, in this space, these are all like kind of sectioned off. This area here is like a little bunk bed, and this actually you could print several times, because this also can fit in here. So if you wanted to have another crew quarter, you could put it into here and fit it up against the wall. These pieces actually move away from the wall, and you can take their pegs out, so it's just a seamless wall. And then in here, I wanted to make kind of maybe like a captain's room or something. So maybe there's going to be I think I might do like another smaller bunk or something for him or her, whoever it is, to be in this room, or it's just going to be like a generic kind of storage room type area. Little storage area right here. Okay. We got some chairs. Again, we got the circular thing. I'm going to have that game table. If you guys have seen my Boba Fett Slave 1, you might recognize the bunks right here. I'm basically reusing the bunks and kind of modifying them. Okay, so we got 2 fairly decently sized spaces here and here. These can be like cargo areas. The idea is, you might come in from an airlock and immediately drop your cargo into a cargo room, or maybe you're coming up the ramp and then you drop your spare cargo in here. Whatever. Maybe there's just like something else you want to put in there. Okay. There is a false hallway that goes off into this section right here. And then again, like I said, it really doesn't fit to have a hallway go all the way through. So the idea is, false hallway here, false door over here in the cockpit. So maybe there's like, in theory, maybe there's like a cockpit hallway that they can go back and forth on. But I didn't think it was going to be that important to have it fully in there. at least for saving printing purposes. Like I said, there's little details here that you can look at and pull out. As far as printing, all of these internal details you can remove and print separately. So all of that is separate. This is separate. All of these walls are individual. So you can pull them out and print them separately as well. So you can do them on a resin printer if you want to. And so that really leaves a lot of open space, and there is some modifiability to this ship. So if you don't really want a wall to be in a certain spot, just don't put the wall in that spot. If you want to move things around, you might be able to move things around, although everything's pretty much in its space. But there's some options here if you want to make, honestly, include walls or not include walls. Let's go like that. Okay. So when I'm going to be cutting this up, it's going to be scaled for, I'm going to cut it up to match 256 by 256 by 256 millimeters. So that'll be my Bamboo P1S. I will, again, be making scaling this for 1/12 scale. I don't know how big this guy is at 1/12 scale, but you know what? Let's find out right now. So if I take, let's see, if I turn on my little dudes right here, so let's say this guy is 6 inches. So he's going to be 6 inches. So I'd say it's about 18 inches tall. And then if we do width, let's move this forward. So let's do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's going to give us 66 inches wide. So that is going to be over 5 feet wide. That's a big sucker. And then if we do length, we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-ish. So 48 inches long. So that's pretty big, and that's at 1/12 scale. That's not the biggest thing I've made. I think the katana still wins that round, but this thing just just size-wise is pretty damn big. I think the 1/12 scale quarter falcon model was about 5 feet long from tip of the nose to the middle of the ship. So that was only like 1/4 of it. That would have been about 11 feet long. So this actually is smaller, quite a bit smaller than that project was. But I guess lengthwise it actually be about the same, about 5 feet-ish, for about the same size of the print. Just, I think it's packed in a little bit better scale-wise. But yeah, there you go. So if you scale it down to 1/18 scale, so about 67%, you should be good for your figures. That'll probably put it in about the 4 foot, 4.5 feet range, which is still, that's pretty damn big. And that is definitely bigger than the HasLab Ghost, which it definitely dwarfs everything else I have on my shelf. So if you have any questions, let me know. I'm going to be uploading these files cut up over the next week or so up to Patreon, and then eventually it'll make its way onto Cults and CG Trader. But yeah, thanks.